What is up? What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Hangout. This is another episode. This is episode 5. This is the Hangout. I'm BJ Kicks, your host, and this is my weekly live stream. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're catching us on the replay, thanks for watching. Hopefully we catch you live next time. By the way, if you are live, say what's up in the chat. I want to see what's going on. I want to say what's up. I see Phil. Let's see who else we got here. As you guys come in, just say hello. You know what I want to know? I would love to know what time it is wherever you are. What's up, Tom? What's up, Phil? Phil says he can't wait to hear about Inferno. Yes. So we got 6 people in the chat right now. What's up? Star Wars fans here. What's up, dude? So here's how tonight is going to go. I wrote down my little agenda on a whiteboard next to me. So, of course, I always love starting with Q&A, seeing how you guys are doing, how's your week going. So, we'll kind of do some discussion based on whatever you guys put in the chat. You're in Connecticut. What's good? So, yeah, East Coast just like me. It is 12 a.m. in the UK. Well, thank you for being committed, dude. Sugar Man, what it do, baby? But anyway, shout out to Comic Storian for the video that's playing in the background. It's like a full 4-hour House of M thing. So I just figured I'd put something on the screen instead of it being black. Anyway, let's see. So what we're doing tonight, we're doing some Q&A, having some fun, just chatting it up, hanging out. I talk to a camera like every day, but on these Hangouts, the camera talks back. So that's fun. So we'll do some Q&A. I read a bunch of DC books yesterday, so we're going to talk about those, and then we're going to talk about Inferno. I want to know how you guys doing. How was your week? My week has been insane. I don't even know if you guys can hear. I don't know if you guys can hear. My daughter's crying right now. She's going through it. She's sleepy. Shout out to my wife for holding down the fort while I do these streams. This week has been insane. So last Thursday, I told you everyone in my house had gotten sick. I was the last man standing, the last healthy man standing. I didn't get sick. Well, everyone in my house is well now, but they couldn't get well without first infecting me. So this weekend was rough. My daughter, my 6-month-old, was like super hands-on all weekend. So there's a bunch of videos I wanted to do, didn't get a chance to do. And then on top of all of that, things kind of slowed down Sunday night. And I'm like, okay, great. Everything's good. Monday, I wake up sick. Tuesday, it gets worse. Wednesday, yesterday, it was just like super rough. Nah, definitely not COVID. My newborn contracted RSV, which is also a respiratory virus, but not nearly as serious as COVID. But RSV is like a lot more serious or a lot more dangerous the younger you are. So for a 6-month-old, that was not the news we wanted to hear, but she's doing well now. She's all healed up. So I got progressively worse. And yesterday I took the day off work. I set up a little station on the couch downstairs away from everybody. I brought a short box down and I just read a bunch of DC comics. That's all I did yesterday. DC comics, and I watched some Family Matters reruns on Hulu. That show, it was hard to watch. It was a hard watch. I didn't make it out of the first season. But so no COVID, fresh news. Thanks for your prayers, Tom. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're all on the up and up now. Both of my daughters are good. My wife had gone down for a while, but now she's good. And I'm good. I'm basically good as well. I still got a little bit of nasal congestion, but I can deal with that. I was dealing with like fatigue and sore throat and just crazy stuff, but we're all good now. Fresh News says DC Comics suck these days. I don't think so. That's not what my impression I got from the books I read, and we'll talk about them soon enough. So anyone else, whoever's in the chat, say what's up. Right now, we're just kind of hanging out, talking comics, having fun. So What books did you guys pick up this week? I haven't picked up my pull list yet because obviously yesterday I was out for the count. Down for the count? Out for the count? What am I reading? So yeah, and I'll get into like some reviews later, but basically, nah, we're not at the end. We just started. I've been live for like 6 minutes, but I'll give you guys a I'll give you guys a sneak peek. So what I've read so far, I got caught up on Robin, um, issues 1 through 4. I haven't read issue 5 yet. Issue 6 just came out this week. I read this entire Infinite Frontier event by Joshua Williamson. Um, enjoyed this a lot. Enjoyed this a lot. And I did get caught up on Batman as well. All the Batman that happened post Death Metal and, all the way up through Infinite Frontier and all that. Um, so, yeah, we're going to talk about how I feel about current DC comics in just a few. Or maybe we'll get right into it. Phil Duran says Infinite Frontier was awesome. I agree. I really enjoyed Infinite Frontier. Star Wars fan says, I think the prices suck, but I think it's unfair to make blanket statements like that, like DC sucks. I feel you. I try to judge everything for what it is. I will say I've been kind of just, yes, Sugarman. That Robin series is Damian, and it's the only place Damian exists in comics right now. Like, is this series, and this is really good too. But yeah, I've been behind on a bunch of comics for a long time. My wife was pregnant, and then we had a baby early, and then we went through that whole hospital NICU journey and stuff. So there's a lot of books that I am super super behind on. And so today I took some time, or yesterday I took some time to get caught up on a lot of DC comics. Part of it was I was busy, so I got behind. But then besides that, sorry, just checking my phone. But besides me being busy, it was just a lot of the books that I was really enjoying before I fell behind just kind of got bad. Like I was not enjoying the X-Men line of comics. Um, I wasn't enjoying Batman for a little while, and so yeah, when I started getting caught up, I was just like, I feel like I didn't miss much. But kind of binging a lot of these series helped with that. So let's see. Fresh news. He says this week's books. He got Inferno, Spider-Man 74, which was the final issue of Nick Spencer's run. Sword number 8 was out this week, and some others he can't think of. DC Infinite Frontier was the only book that he was reading. He felt like it was the best that they had. Cool. Let's see. Moni says, hey, I really enjoy watching your videos. Thanks, Moni. Are you currently reading the new Spawn series? What are your thoughts? I'm pulling Spawn. I haven't read it yet, The King Spawn, and I'm looking forward to Gunslinger Spawn. From what I hear, it's actually like really stepped up, and it's a really good book. I buy Spawn mostly for the artwork. I don't really read Spawn, but I buy it because it's $2.99. I support Todd McFarlane as a creator, and the artwork in the books is always good. So yeah, and let's see. Wait, you didn't enjoy X-Men? So did you miss some DC slander? Not quite, Blue, not quite. Well, Fresh News said DC sucks right now. So I guess you missed that part. But as far as things that why didn't I enjoy X-Men? So X-Men as a line, I just got really bogged down with, particularly once Ten of Swords started. I felt like everything was going really, really well until they did the Ten of Swords event. And for one, Ten of Swords was like way too many issues. It was like a 22 issue crossover series. And I was just like, yo, this is too many books. And so I was collecting them all, but then my daughter was born. I was like, you know what? I'll wait for the hardcover. And the hardcover kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. I finally read the hardcover, but by the time I did that, I was like 4 issues behind in each series. And so I decided to kind of binge read a bunch of X-Men. And what I found was that after the Ten of Swords event, just about every X-Men book, with the exception of Jonathan Hickman's main X-Men, was just kind of like biding time. I felt like it was like none of the issues were all that interesting. Storm had a moment in Marauders that I thought was cool. Um, what else was I reading? X Force. X Force was never bad, but it is not. It wasn't like great. Um, it was just a lot. Just not. Nothing was moving forward. I felt is really what was going on with the X-Men line. So let's see what else we got in the chat. X-Men lines up and down, but X-Men, Hellions, Wolverine, and Sword are great. So I never picked up Hellions. Hellions was never on my pull list. So maybe I just missed out on that. Wolverine, I'm still behind on because I felt like Wolverine just kept getting caught up in other events. And Sword is on my pull list, but I haven't read that yet either. So the books that I did read, X-Men, X-Force, Marauders. I read Way of X, X Corp. Um, I feel like there's one more that I'm leaving out, but those are the books that I started reading after Ten of Swords was over, and overall I was underwhelmed. Let's see. Blue says there were more issues, but less depth and grandeur. It just deflated. Yeah, I feel the same way. Um, my bad. I keep checking my phone to make sure my wife doesn't need help because the baby's crying. But yeah, it just, and we're gonna talk a lot more in depth about Inferno, and I'll kind of give my thoughts on Hickman's X-Men era when we get to that point. But I guess we're almost 15 minutes in. We can go ahead and get started with these DC Comics reviews. Let's see. Onslaught ended a lot of people's X-Men reading back then. It's not the strongest stuff. Yeah, I've heard that. I think Omar said Onslaught was when he stopped reading X-Men for a long time. Star Wars says, yeah, I can see why. They're doing an Onslaught Omnibus later next year. I think the beginning of next year is coming out. I'm buying it because I'm buying everything X-Men, but from what I hear, I shouldn't be looking forward to it. So let's get into DC Comics and how I felt about the DC Comics that I got caught up on yesterday during my sick day. So first thing I started with was Batman. Now, you guys, if you watch my What I'm Getting videos every week, then you may know I just kind of fell off Batman at issue 107, like right after Infinite Frontier. And I jumped back on for the Fear State Alpha issue. So I missed issues 108 through 111. And so I read the Fear State Alpha issue. I thought it was done really well. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me go back and see what I missed. Yeah, I didn't miss much. So James Tynion's Batman started off really, really good with issue 86. And I mean, some of this could just be that I just hated Tom King's run so much that James Tynion just felt like an oasis in a desert. But I felt like it was action-packed. It was really fast-paced. There was a lot of really cool elements going. And I feel like it really lost steam when they took a break for Future State. And when they came back from Future State, where Future State had initiated all of this magistrate stuff or whatever, and they came back from Future State and like the magistrate just took over all the Gotham storylines, I was just like, ugh. And so I kind of fell off because I was like, I didn't care for the magistrate storyline in Future State, and now it's in the regular books. And so, but so what I went ahead and did was like I said, after I read Fear State, I was like, all right, let me go back and see what I missed because I really liked the Fear State Alpha issue. So I read issues 108, which is the first appearance of Miracle Molly, up through 111 yesterday. And yeah, I didn't miss much. Like, so if you're caught up on Batman, cool. If you're not, spoilers for like the next 3 minutes. Basically, all that has happened from issue 106 all the way up until now is the Scarecrow has found a way to insert himself into Gotham's political machine. He's manipulating this like tech Steve Jobs wannabe. The Steve Jobs wannabe wants to institute the magistrate because he's got a chip on his shoulder against superheroes. So Scarecrow manipulates that dude, makes him think he's working for him, and basically gets the mayor to enact this whole magistrate program. But then once he does, he kind of takes it over and corrupts the dude. And now here we are in Fear State. But what I just described was basically all that happened over 106 to 111. That's 6 issues. And I'm like, that could have all happened in one. Could have all happened in one issue. Zach, what's up, Zach? I've been down on Titans run ever since Joker War. Can't wait for Williamson to take over. Yeah, I really enjoyed Joker War. Everything leading up to and through the Joker War was amazing. And I think part of it is that that Titan was only supposed to be on Batman until the end of the Joker War. But the sales did so well, DC extended him, and so he had to kind of try to salvage plot points. But then all that got interrupted by the Future State. So, yeah. All that stuff. Let's see. Got a text. Let's see. All right, so yeah, this will be a shorter stream. I'm probably not gonna go the whole hour and a half this time, but yeah, I just felt like overall all the stuff that happened after Future State when they did the Infinite Frontier initiative, it moved way too slow. Now, to be fair, I read it back to back to back, and I felt like it read better, like kind of as a trade, but I couldn't imagine being like actually reading one issue at a time for 4 months. Like I'd probably have been upset and maybe like drop the title if I was doing that. But let's see. Fresh News is looking forward to the DC zombie team coming up. Is it a zombie team or is it the vampires? Which one is it? Blue says DC Zombies. That sounds interesting. DC's at its best when it's dark. Yeah, I'm actually gonna revisit Deceased for an upcoming like retro review. I loved Deceased by Tom Taylor and all of its spinoffs. It was like 4 different spinoff series, and I loved them all. But yeah, I love the whole end of the world DC zombie stuff. And now Tynan is going to be doing the DC versus vampires. I think that starts like next month or something. So yeah. Let's see. Phil Durant can't wait for Williamson's run. He's been killing it lately. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on Batman. Honestly, Fear State has been pretty good so far, so I'm excited to see how it goes. Overall, I'm kind of just tired of like super dark horror based Batman. Like I kind of want like back to basics detective stories from Batman. That's what I want. Who knows if that's what Josh Williamson's going to give us, but that's what I want. Speaking of Josh Williamson, he wrote the next 2 books that I've read. So after I read Batman, I went through and I read Infinite Frontier. I read all 6 issues of Infinite Frontier, and let me tell you, I really enjoyed this. So this is like a direct follow-up to the events of Dark Knight's Death Metal. So DC has basically been trying to reboot their continuity, it seems like, for like 3 years now. But basically, ever since Heroes in Crisis kind of threw away what Doomsday Clock was going to be, it's just, they've just kind of been in like this holding pattern where they've been slowly introducing things that are going to reset the continuity or the timeline or merge it all or whatever. 5G was supposed to do that, but then Dan DiDio got fired, so 5G didn't happen. And so between Dark Knight's Death Metal, this book, and some upcoming event that hasn't been announced yet, the DC multiverse or omniverse is kind of getting reworked as we speak. So Infinite Frontier. If you didn't read Death Metal, I won't spoil it, except to say that the way it ends is with us finding out that there are multiple multiverses. Of course, after the Justice League kind of saves our world, our multiverse, from everything going on and all the evil machinations that we're trying to take over, we find out that there's a whole brave new world out there and it needs to be explored. In Infinite Frontier, we kind of get some of the ramifications from that. Like, not only do we know, or the superheroes, not only do the superheroes know about all these other worlds out there, normal everyday citizens of the DC universe know. The media knows, everyone knows. And so there's great bits in here about like people being concerned, like, oh, what if there's another me out in another world? Like, am I even the real me and stuff like that? By the way, I agree. Zach, I want back to basics Batman. Give me some detective stories. Yeah, that's what I want to. What's up, Mary with Comics? I don't know if this is Laura or Scott. I'm going to assume it's Laura, though. What's up, Laura? Star Wars fan, you got a hot take about Watchmen? Let me know. What's the thing? So, Infinite Frontier. My bad. I get sidetracked with these comments. Infinite Frontier, basically, we find out that there's a bunch of stuff going on, right? And we'll get into it in a second. I gotta stop looking at these comments while I'm speaking. I interrupt my sentences. But so with Infinite Frontier, we basically go on a adventure through a bunch of worlds. There's a conflict brewing. We don't know who or why. We kind of find out over these issues. But something that I'm trying not to spoil the story. So one thing that we do find out in this event is that basically all of these crises that reset the DC multiverse or universe, they reset things in favor of Earth Zero, which is, our main DC universe. Like if the main Marvel universe is the 616, our main universe in DC Comics is Earth Zero. And so we find that all these crises, from Crisis on Infinite Earths to Infinite Crisis and Final Crisis and Death Metal, all of it, it all serves to kind of reset Earth Zero and put things in favor for Earth Zero. But we find that on other Earths and other multiverses, things don't end well. And so there are a bunch of other worlds, a bunch of people from other worlds who have it out for Earth Zero. And with this latest event, they want to try to seize control of the timeline and time and space and the multiverse and all that. So, without spoiling it, we get that here. We get to see some of the villains. We get to see like this assembly of villains from all these other worlds, and we get to see what their motivations are. In the meantime, there are heroes that have come back into our world. We find out that the heroes that are back in our world don't necessarily have all their memories. So some of them are like the people that we know and love. Some of them are like kind of mixed with beings from other multiverses. It's very interesting stuff. And the end page reveal, I mean, you can see Darkseid is teased all up and through like all these covers, right? Well, it turns out that Darkseid has a plan. He's got something brewing, and whatever Darkseid's got brewing, we're going to find out about in 2022. So the universe hasn't been reset yet. The multiverse hasn't been reset yet. We haven't got our big battle yet, but it is coming. It's coming soon. So yeah. Ben Uncle's in the house. Happy Thursday, sir. Melanated Dweeb says, are you reading the Icon and Rocket comics? I am. I read issue 3 yesterday? Tuesday. And I got thoughts. We'll get into those in a second. Fresh News says, the real problem with comics is the 50-issue story arc. Yeah, I agree. specifically with Spider-Man, which you named, right? I started Spider-Man at issue 36. There was stuff that had basically been introduced in like the first 4 issues that I've never read. I still haven't read. And to this day, I have no clarity on what exactly it was. And so I feel like in order to read it, I got to go all the way back to issue 1. But it's like, if I've read 40 issues of your run and I don't know what's going on, like that's a lot. Like that's way too much to expect anyone to do, especially someone who's new to comics. So comics are definitely playing the long game. Like, so, and we'll talk about it. I got another video coming. I got another video coming about how I feel about this whole Spider-Man saga. But man, I have wanted to enjoy a Spider-Man book since I got into comics 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago was when I started reading comics, right? And I'm like, all right, I want to get all the books from like my favorite characters, Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men. That's what I want. I've never enjoyed Spider-Man. And then it comes to find out that the whole hallmark of Nick Spencer's run was just retconning something that happened years ago that I never read anyway. So it's like the whole run is basically just fan service to people who were into it for a long time or a longer time than me. And I'm like, that's great for them. But what about like the teenager that I try to turn on to comics tomorrow, who goes and picks up Spider-Man 74 and is completely confused. And then they pick up Spider-Man 75 next week or whenever, and it's not even Peter Parker. Like, what do you do for that kid who sees Tom Holland on the screen but doesn't see Tom Holland in the comic books? So, yeah, that's how I feel about these ridiculously long runs that just serve to entertain the 10 people that are actually following the entire run all the way through. But yeah. I feel comics are written for the trade. Yeah, they are. And I feel crazy every time I read. Every time I get caught or get behind in comics and I get caught up, I'm like, oh, why am I even buying this in single issues? I should have just bought the trade anyway, because I wasn't going to enjoy it reading issue by issue. Let's see. I've not read Dead Man Logan. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. Ben Uncle says, what was at top of my reading pile this week? So I read a bunch of back issues. I haven't gone to the shop yet because I was sick yesterday. So I'm going to pick up my new issues on Saturday or maybe tomorrow. I might go tomorrow after work if I can get away. So this week I read Infinite Frontier. I got caught up on Infinite Frontier. I read every back issue of Batman that I've been missing from Tynan's run. And I read the first 4 issues of Robin. Robin, I really, really like. But Infinite Frontier. So one thing I will say about Infinite Frontier and the DC line since Infinite Frontier is they make you want to read more DC comics. There are tons of characters in these pages that I had never seen before. But the way they're introduced, the way they explain their homelands, it made me want to go and investigate. It didn't turn me off in the way that a lot of Marvel comics turn me off when I'm like, I don't know who this is. They're not explaining anything. They just expect me to know. DC does a good job of like kind of hand holding while not disappointing older readers. So this is a recommend. I recommend this series. If you know nothing about the DC universe, it's probably going to confuse you a little bit. But like I said, I'm a newer reader and I read Death Metal and this, and I feel like that's enough. It sets up where the DC universe is going, and the ads that are in here, all the house ads, and they recommend which books to read. And if you like this, then you might like this. Like all that is in here. DC is doing a good job of making me want to continue reading DC comics and expand my DC comics knowledge. So that's been cool. Shannon with the super chat. I'm headed home from Missouri after being on the road for 3 weeks. Conveniently, me and the mystery box will be at my house tomorrow. Perfect timing. Shout out to you, Shannon. That is exciting. Super exciting. I ordered a Zabi mystery box as well. Mine probably won't be here till the end of next week. But yeah, super exciting. What's up, White Tiger Cowabunga? Let's see. Blue says it won't make a difference with Spider-Man. It's truly infinite fan service. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Reading Spider-Man for as long as I've read Spider-Man, it's just like they don't care about new readers, is how it feels. George Bush doesn't care about new readers. Let's see. Phil says Dead Man Logan was great. What's up, Jimmy G? That's a great avatar, dude. I don't know if that's actually you, but if it is, that's dope. It's like Ric Flair meets the KFC dude. Let's see. That's funny. I thought the same thing. Let's see. With Robin's current arc, every time somebody says Kumite, I keep thinking of the Boondocks episode Attack of the Kung Fu Killer Wolf. That is one of my wife's favorite episodes of the Boondocks. And I like it too. That one, Guest Host Coming to Dinner, The Trial of R. Kelly, interestingly enough. God, that one came true years later. Let's see. I love the Tyler Perry episode, but it's like been struck down from the internet, so good luck finding it. There's a lot of episodes that I love of the Boondocks. It's one of my favorite shows. I revisit it all the time. Let's see. So Tom's been reading Spider-Man about the years he wore the black suit, written by Peter David. You're reading Symbiote Spider-Man. I didn't read that. Maybe I should grab that. Fresh News says Best Spider-Man is Ultimate Spider-Man. That omnibus is coming out, I think next month or the month after, like November. I'm gonna buy it and then I'll read it. And then I'll review it, all for your viewing pleasure. Let's see. Silver and Bronze Age Spider-Man. He says he hasn't disliked a single issue and most of them pretty new reader friendly. I got the Spider-Man by Roger Stern omnibus. I'm gonna crack open here in a few weeks. Trial of R. Kelly is so good. Trial of R. Kelly is amazing. And shout out to Adam West, who plays R. Kelly's lawyer, who also played Batman, and who is now resting in peace. But anyway, yeah, I love. Oh, the itis, the soul food episode. The itis is worth it just for the 3-minute segment where Huey explains the movie Soul Food to the audience. There's just so many great moments in that series. Here we are talking about the Boondocks. Frank Castle, do I have a favorite comic writer? My favorite comic writer at the moment is Tom Taylor. Of all time, I don't know if I have a favorite writer of all time just yet. I don't think I've read enough comics to definitively say, but Tom Taylor is the one person who is like, if I see his name on a book, I'm going to buy it. Star Wars fan says Shannon's stories of driving through West Virginia mountains are always fun. I love going in the K Squad and seeing where Shannon's most recent stop is. For those of you guys who don't know, Shannon drives trucks for a living. I feel like there's a better way to say that. I don't know. He's a truck driver, makes deliveries and stuff, but he travels all through the United States, and he stops at all the discount stores, the Ollie's, the Goodwills, and Second and Charles, all that. And he shows us his comic hauls in the group, and I'm always jealous. They're always dope. Shannon also started the Squadron Hood of the Traveling comic. So right now there is a trade paperback of Daredevil Yellow traveling all throughout to different group members. We're all reading it, and then we're signing it, and then eventually it's going to make its way to me, and I'm going to give it away live on an episode of the Hangout. So that's going to be fun. Theme song is legit. Yeah, man. I love everything about the Boondocks. Even season 4. Is it season 4? But yeah, let's see. Garth Ennis is your favorite. Garth Ennis wrote about a lot of Punisher, right? Frank Castle? I'm sure you would know. Let's see. I need to make a Facebook and join that at some time, but I don't want Facebook having my information. You know what I did? Obviously, I use my personal Facebook for the K Squad, but one time I created an email address, and then I created a Facebook account with that email address, and it's just for that Facebook account. And my Facebook name on that account, Damian Wayne. Let's see. Tom is great and amazing Aussie. Did you read Dark Ages? Dark Ages is in my to read pile somewhere. Somewhere. I plan on getting to that soon though. You got a fake Gmail for your Discord account. See, yeah, so you know the deal. You know the deal. Seven Secrets continues to be an amazing, fast-paced action movie. Danielle Dinaculo art looks so good. It's an amazing animated series. Yeah, from the first issue I read of Seven Secrets, I was thinking I would watch this. Like I would watch this. So yeah, hopefully they do. Hopefully they make a series out of it. That'd be awesome. Speaking of series, I watched Superman and Lois the other day. I binge watched all of Superman and Lois. I think I had left off on issue 5 and I watched all the way to whatever the final, I said issue 5, episode 5. And I watched all the way until it was over. And I really liked it. Obviously, it took a lot of liberties. There's a lot of things that happened on that show that I assume would never happen in the comics, like Steel, for example. But I really, really enjoyed it. Are you reading the new Ennis Batman book? So Batman Reptilian. That's a book that I read yesterday. I read issue 1 yesterday. And the story was good. The artwork was really good. But the artwork was really dark. Like, dark and like spooky, but also just like physically dark. As if someone had just did that while they were drawing, right? Actually, it was kind of cool like that. But it was just dark. And I couldn't make out some of the panels. And I was like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for dark and brooding Batman right now. It was shaping up to be a very dark story, like just scary and whatnot. But yeah. So I enjoyed Batman Reptilian #1, but I'm gonna read it when the series wraps up. I'll probably buy the hardcover. Hardcover doesn't come out until May though, so I'm probably just gonna keep buying the single issues and read them later this year. Superman and Lois was great. I really enjoyed it. I'm not even a Superman fan, but I loved Superman and Lois, and I can't wait for next season. They left things open. I think next season's gonna be great. Like Superman and Lois a lot too, but I haven't finished it yet. I feel you, Laura. A Star Wars fan finds Garth Ennis' style too edgy. By the way, got you, Shannon. Shannon says, if you happen to get duplicates in your mystery boxes, I'll happily buy whatever I don't have if you don't plan on doing a giveaway with them. I'll let you know. You'll get first dibs. Let's see. Yeah, gonna get Ennis Batman in collected edition. So yeah, Batman from issues like 108 to 111, not really a recommend. If you're a super Batman fan, there are some character introductions that you might like in those pages. There's a character named Squeak, which I find hilarious because that's what I call my newborn daughter. I call her Squeak all the time. So that's been dope. Infinite Frontier, highly recommend. If you're a DC fan, you should definitely read Infinite Frontier. And then Robin. Robin's the last book I've been reading. I read issues 1 through 4. I'm really excited to read issue 5. I just had to run some errands before this stream, so I didn't get to read it. But Robin, as you can see, stars Damian Wayne. Robin is basically, I don't know how much you guys were following Batman and all that, but Damian Wayne quit being Robin prior to Death Metal. Basically, Alfred got killed, and then he was like second guessing himself, and he quit being Robin and kind of ran away. Basically, is what happened, and that didn't even happen in the pages of Batman. He quit being Robin in the pages of Teen Titans. So, if you weren't reading Teen Titans, which I wasn't reading Teen Titans, and you had no idea, Damian just kind of disappeared. But, yes, Ben, the Joker War is a good jumping off point. The Joker War basically leads into Infinite Frontier, and you could probably skip everything until Fear State starts. Honestly, let's see. Yeah, Robin's on my pull list. I'm picking it up tomorrow. So yeah, issue 6 is out this week. So I read issues 1 through 4. But yeah, so Damian quit being Robin. or at least quit serving Batman by Batman's side as Robin. Runs off to Lazarus Island, where there is this tournament, the Lazarus tournament of Champions, contest of fire. I don't know. There's this Mortal Kombat style tournament where basically, if you die, you lose. Basically, like you're fighting to the death, and it's to prove that you're the greatest fighter like in the world. And the prize for the ultimate fighter is immortality. But this series, I read issue 1 and was like, okay, this is just like, it's throwaway. Like, I don't really need it, whatever. But I never took it off the pull list. Although the premise sounds like, this is just some side story that's going on. There is really, really, I'm pointing to at the back of the books. There's really, really good character work being done in this book. If you're a fan of Damian, he's going through some growth, some maturation in this book that I think is really going to pay off moving forward, especially since Joshua Williamson is going to be writing Batman starting in December. I think this series is even more important than it was. With Joshua Williamson basically running the DC universe, pretty much anything that he's writing is, I say, important. And so far, it's been good. This series is really, really good. I can't say too much else without spoiling it, but yeah, I love DC's logo. But yeah, I can't say too much without spoiling it. But yeah, the point was, if you're a fan of Damian as a character, or even if you're not, even if you're like, yo, Damian's too much of a spoiled brat, a lot of that is handled in the pages of this book. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm going to read issue 5 pretty much as soon as I'm done with this stream in a few minutes. Let's see. Frank Castle likes that Robin cover. Oh, let me cycle through them real quick. So this is the cover for issue 5, where basically all of the Bat family is coming, trying to convince Damian to come home. Super dope. Here's issue 1. Damian trying to be the last fighter standing. Issue 2. I won't spoil anything, but it's pretty dope. Issue 3. Damian Wayne versus Connor Hawke. Issue 4. Oh, I love this cover. Training Day with Ra's al Ghul, or Raish, depending on how you pronounce it. To each his own. And then, like I said, issue 5. Issue 6 is out this week. I'm picking it up tomorrow. Let's see. It's like the movie Bloodsport, but with Robin. I've never seen the movie Bloodsport. The comparison I keep seeing is Mortal Kombat, which I played Mortal Kombat, and so I agree with that. Let's see. JC says, do you collect or watch Blu-ray movies, anime, or cartoons? I have a collection of DVDs. I don't actively collect them, though. Like, I kind of just buy stuff if I see it in like the $5 Walmart bins, or I do try to buy, if they do like the Batman Blu-rays, I try to buy those. So like I bought from Laura, I bought the full Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray. I currently need to buy a new Blu-ray player because my Blu-ray player doesn't play newer Blu-rays. So, but honestly, just about everything I ever want to watch is streaming. So I don't really care to go filling up my house with Blu-rays. Yeah, because everything streams. Let's see. Yes, Phil is absolutely correct. If you can find the B covers for this Robin series by Francis Manapul, they are all epic. They're amazing. I'm probably, you know what? Let's look. Let's go to. Do I want to go? Do I want to order from Tfaw? Tales from Another World. Let's see. Tales from Another World's been doing some weird stuff with their packaging lately. I'm just searching to see if they have this book. So Robin. I wonder if there's an easy way for me to look at this series. Click on the series. All right. Cover B. They don't even have the cover B's up here. Whatever. Anyway. Bloodsport has a Kumite tournament in it. Makes sense. Tom's going to wait and get the trade of Robin. It's going to be a good read, especially if you read it all back to back like I did. Ben Uncle says, Damien's your Robin. Do you have a definitive Damien writer? Is it anyone besides Grant Morrison? No. I didn't read the Tomasi Batman and Robin, but I did read a lot of Tomasi Super Sons, and I love Damien and Super Sons. But I mean, yeah, so far I guess it's Grant Morrison by default. If I read Batman and Robin by Tomasi, I'd probably take it over the edge though. Let's see. Only physical media I buy is video games or books. With books, there isn't going to be a new format that comes out. With games, it's like the feeling. Games are usually hardware. Yeah, I don't play video games, mostly because I don't have a gaming system. Like, I really want a PS5, and I really want to play Miles Morales or that new Wolverine game they just announced that's coming out. Basically, I want to buy a PlayStation so I can play a bunch of Marvel games, is how it's going to go. And Injustice. But I don't have a PS5, and I'm not going to go and buy a PS4 because a lot of the new games are going to be PS5 exclusives. So, but yeah, if I played video games, I would definitely I would want to go buy the disc. I can't do just all digital for video games. Let's see. I am hyped for the Long Halloween special. I really love the original Long Halloween. So Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale coming back to that world. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not like, I don't know, the reunion tour for your favorite band and they don't have like the same drummer or something. I don't know. Let's see. Paul's gonna bite the bullet and get a 4K player, been using the PS4 for 7 years. I've been waiting. I'm trying to buy the PS5 and just use the Blu-ray player on that. But who knows? Who knows? Star Wars fan plays a lot of Switch games. My daughter wants me to buy her a Switch. Maybe I'll buy a Switch for the house. Just finished a Long Halloween animated movie. It's a satisfying nod to the comic. Very well done. Probably the best animated movie that was directly adapted from the comics. Huh. How are you girls feeling? Everyone healthy? Everyone is healthy except me with the stuffy nose. That's how these things go, though. But yeah, my wife is back to 100%. Both of my girls are back to 100%. Whole house is great. I'm the only sicko in this room. Let's see. Speaking of, I've been checking my phone, making sure everything's all good. I don't hear the baby crying anymore, so I think we're all good. All right, we are 48 minutes in. I guess we can talk about Inferno now. I guess we can do that. So, before we do that, my bad, Melanated Dweeb, you asked me how I felt about Icon and Rocket. So, you guys know, and if you're newer to the channel, maybe you don't know, I'm a huge fan of Milestone Media. I don't collect a lot of things physically. I mean, I collect books, obviously. But when it comes to like single issues, I'm not like, let me go back and collect the entire Simonson Thor. There are only a few series that I own all the way through. I own every Super Sons book that's ever come out. I own all issues of Ultimate X-Men. I own... That's it. That's it as far as full runs. But the one thing that I've gone and sought out to own is like all the original 4 Milestone Media titles. So Static, Icon, Hardware, Blood Syndicate. There are more, but the first wave is specifically what I've been after. I have a full run of Icon, a full run of Blood Syndicate. I'm 2 issues away from a full run of Hardware. I'm 4 issues away from a full run of Static. That's how deep it goes. I've also somehow built up a crazy collection of Milestone Media posters and other memorabilia. Where's my Static toy? My Static action figure is not on my desk right now. My Funko Pop's right here. I've been having a really good time collecting all things Milestone. So when Milestone Media announced that they were returning, I was all up on it. I made a video and everything. And I was really, really excited about it. So far, I love Hardware. Hardware is my favorite. Only one issue's come out so far. I think Hardware number 2 is out next week. But yeah, Hardware's been my favorite. Static season 1, I really liked. I love the artwork, but they keep switching between Nick Draper, Ivy, and Chris Cross, and I'd rather just be Nick Draper, Ivy all the way through. But a great story. I love it. Written by Vita Ayala. Icon and Rocket, written by Reggie Hudlin, who I'm pretty sure they called Wedgie Hudlin on the Boondocks. Even though Wedgie Hudlin, while being at BET, was also a producer on the Boondocks. That's hilarious. But anyway. So yeah, Icon and Rocket is written by Reggie Hudlin with art by Doug Braithwaite. Dare I say it, has the best artwork. Like if you're looking for like traditional superhero action artwork, Icon and Rocket has the best artwork out of all of the Milestone Returns series. Although my favorite artwork so far has been Dennis Cowan on Hardware. But Icon and Rocket was like super Icon and Rocket was super. The first issue was like really, really like close to the original, but in a way that was just kind of like lackluster because the original was just so good, and the reboot just didn't have the same oomph. There were a lot of character traits that are missing specifically from Icon that are just kind of hard to reconcile if you're comparing the new one to the original series. But with that said, they're also adding a lot to the mythos of Icon. Like in issue 3, not to spoil things, they reveal some things about Icon's home world and other people who are basically aliens that came around the same time Icon did. In issue 2, Icon did something that seemed super out of character, but really establishes that Icon is not here for play. Overall, it's been like so different from the original that it's like actually exciting to me at this point. So it went from issue 1 making me feel like, it's never going to be as good as the original, to issue 3 being like, okay, this is so different. I have to just take the original out of my mind altogether and enjoy it for what it is. And for what it is, it's a pretty enjoyable story. I think it's one that's best not told in just 6 issues because there's so many things to unpack, but it's been cool. So I'm enjoying Icon and Rocket, not as much as the other 2 titles, but I am enjoying it. Yeah, Ben. Yeah, I fully agree. Dennis Cowan on Hardware is just amazing. And the Bill Sienkiewicz inks, sheesh. Shannon says, am I still doing monthly giveaways in the Hangouts? Yeah, so the month of October might be weird, but I do plan to continue doing giveaways. With the giveaways on live streams, they're not necessarily always going to be monthly, but there is always going to be a giveaway for the K Squad. September, October is kind of in limbo because there haven't been as many books that have come out. So normally the giveaway is sponsored by Organic Priced Books. And with Marvel basically not shipping any books in October, we gotta figure out how that's gonna go. The last giveaway was when we gave away we did a 3,000 subscriber giveaway. That was at the beginning of this month. So yeah, we're not due for another giveaway for like another week or so. But we're still kind of working out those details. But yeah, I do still do the giveaways. Let's see. What do you guys talk about here, Sugar Man? Oh, you guys talk about Hush. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Hush. I liked that it got made, but it wasn't my favorite. Phil, I don't know. Static has amazing action scenes. Yeah, when Nick Draper Ivy does the finishes, it's amazing. It's the best book on shelves. I love the anime inspired or that manga inspired artwork. And there are scenes in Static when Nick does the colors and everything that look directly like they're still from a movie. like from an anime movie. It looks amazing at times, but at other times it just kind of falls off. I don't know, JC. I'm only up through volume 2 of The Batman by Grant Morrison. But I mean, I know that Damian eventually does die. Like that was like a whole thing. And I think Batman Volume 3 by Morrison, now that I'm thinking about it, yes, Batman Volume 3 on Morrison is really just collecting Batman Inc. Is mainly Batman Inc. I'm pretty sure Damian dies in Volume 2. Not to spoil anything, but yeah, it's kind of well documented that Grant Morrison wanted Damian to stay dead, and he did not. So there's that. I'm in the middle of Volume 2 right now. I keep looking at the shelves like that's going to change anything. It seems like the best place to read if you want Damian is Batman and Robin by Tomasi. But considering how that omni's out of print, I'm going to have to just read it digitally eventually. All right. You guys give me like a 30-second break. Got to handle something real quick. And then we're going to come back and talk about Inferno. I promise. I'm back. Sorry, guys. Sicknesses do not care about anyone. Volume 3 has a very important thing happen with Damian. Okay. That's good to know. That's great to know, actually. So, Inferno. And I am like, really, I'm running late, actually. Anyone read the Batman manga? Not me. Honestly, JC, you can find volumes 1 through 3 of the Batman by Grant Morrison for like $150 in like every Facebook group. I don't know what's going on, but everybody keeps selling that set for like between $120 and $150. So yeah. That's hilarious. All right. Sorry. I'm texting my wife, making sure everything's all good with the baby and whatnot. So let's see. I am. All right. We're going to talk about Inferno. My bad. My wife will text me all night, and I will text her back all night. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So we talked about all the new comments. We've been having fun in this chat. I love watching you guys talk to each other in the chat. Like I love comics are about community to me. That's really dope. So I've just been watching you guys all talking to everyone. But yeah, so the last thing that I read was Inferno. Inferno. Let's do this. Let me switch out. Let me switch up the camera view, and we're gonna get into this. We're gonna really get into this. Give me just a second. So I bought this issue digitally just so that I could read it quickly, honestly. And let's see, let's fix that. So here we are. Inferno, Inferno. So I told you guys that I is it me or is it really warm all of a sudden? I told you guys that I kind of fell off of X-Men post Ten of Swords. And there were a few reasons, right? One, it just kind of got boring for a second. All the X titles kind of got boring. Hickman's X-Men, like the main X-Men, had been a bunch of like one and done stories, but they kind of weren't connecting to each other. And what mostly got me mad was they weren't really referencing anything that we saw in House of X and Powers of Ten. If you guys don't know my backstory, I started out in comics because of House of X and Powers of Ten. I won an issue, and so then I went to a shop and I started a pull list, and I've never missed a week of comics since. Is basically how that went. Um, House of X Powers of Ten is like the best thing I've ever read. There's nothing that I felt more excited about than like House of X #4. Um, and yeah, I just haven't had a feeling like that with ongoing titles anyway since then. So that spun out into a bunch of different X-Men titles. Most of them were good enough, um, but nothing had been as exciting as House of X, except maybe some moments in X Force, some moments in Marauders, and some moments in X-Men. Honestly, but it was like there'd be like really great issues, but not sustained greatness. Phil said it right. No Hickman X-Men comic has been this epic since Hoxpox. So one thing was like House of X Powers of 10 opens up a whole new world of X-Men. Now, this is literally the first X-Men comics that I've read, but um, it was like everything I knew about X-Men from like watching in other media and like the animated show and all that stuff. It kind of spun it on its head. So the X-Men, they've got their own sovereign island. They're not just like playing up the whole mutant race card anymore. They're like, nah, we're taking control. So X-Men are on Krakoa. They got all this technology. They got the upper hand against the humans, it seems like. And the ace in the hole, they can resurrect. But there's also been a bunch of alternate futures because we find out that Moira McTaggart is a mutant and she can reincarnate basically like 10 times or 11. And with every incarnation, she keeps all her knowledge of the previous life, but the world is bending around her. So when Moira McTaggart dies, the world resets, basically. That's her mutant power. And so we get in House of X and Powers of 10, we get a glimpse at all these different lives, all these different alternate realities, all these different futures. And basically, what's going on is the X-Men are trying to find a way to survive because what we find is that in the future, all these human entities that are conspiring against humans, they win. They build Sentinels, they build Nimrod, like the ultimate mutant destroying machine, and that's the end of mutant kind. And it's that way in like every future that Moira McTaggart sees, except maybe one, which is the one that we're living in right now, right? And yeah, so that happens, but there's a bunch of threads that are picked up. Like Sabretooth is banished, to live under Krakoa. Um, what else? We don't see Moira McTaggart after House of X Powers, and she has not shown up in 22, 24 issues of any of these other comic books. Like she's just not shown up at all. Uh, at one point, there's this whole confrontation between Moira McTaggart and Destiny because Destiny can see the future and basically doesn't like what Moira's doing in the future. And so Moira has this whole thing like, look, we're not bringing any precog mutants. Any mutants that can see the future, they're not welcome on Krakoa, right? And that presents a problem because Mystique, whose lover is Destiny, she wants her girl back, right? And so we've had this recurring thing in the comics where Mystique will do some mission, fail at that mission, and Professor X and Magneto will basically be like, well, guess we can't resurrect Destiny. And so, yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So Inferno picks up Well, the last issue of Hickman's X-Men that we read, I think his run ends at issue 21. But in that issue, we see Mystique go on another mission, fail that mission, and basically Professor X and Magneto are like, nah, we're not bringing Destiny back. Sorry, bro. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. And Mystique remembers when Destiny said, look, if they refuse to bring me back, you burn that place to the ground or you find a way to bring me back, right? And so going into this Inferno event, I'm ready to see Mystique burn the place down because that's what it looks like she's about to do, right? And I don't want to spoil this book for you guys. Just know this book is amazing. Like, if you felt like the X-Men, like Hickman's X-Men was just moving really, really slow and you wanted to see stuff more like X-Men issue 20 or like that Children of the Vault stuff or the House of X and Powers of 10 stuff, you could literally read House of X and Powers of 10 and then just read this, in my opinion, and you'd be great. But JC, are you and the wife in the same house? We are. She's in another room. Let's see. Yeah. So, do I want to talk spoilers? Let's see what's going on. Let's see what you guys are saying. Not the biggest fan of Hotspots, but it grew on me. I loved Hotspots. Argina Scott back together. Hope Wolverines involved too. Yeah, they're in some kind of like mutant love triangle. Not a love triangle like the soap opera sense, but like a love triangle in that they're all dating each other, it seems. It's implied. It's really not a big plot point in the comics. Don't mess with Moira. Yeah, don't mess with Moira. Come on. Oh, you're saying come on. I think you're saying you want to talk spoilers. All right, guys, you have been warned. So I'll give you a last little recap. Give me like 30 seconds. All I'm going to tell you is if you've been missing X-Men, this is the book to read. Right here, right now. Inferno #1 is just awesome. And when I tell you, I mean, dog, trying to find a scene that I can't like really spoil. It's not going to really spoil anything. All right. So here we go. First page. We are looking at, a throuple. That's what they look like. Seems like. Melanated dweeb. Oh, word. I shop at Ultimate too. If you shop at Ultimate Raleigh, maybe we'll get up sometime. I'm picking mine up around 5:30-ish tomorrow. But so like this is like the first few pages, the first like before the little stinger issue or stinger page, right? And what we find is that the X-Men, is Inferno new reader friendly. I feel like to get the most out of it, you should definitely read House of X and Powers of 10 first. So I mean that's 10 issues, but you can skip the whole Dawn of X, Reign of X. You can skip all of that and just jump from House of X, Powers of 10 straight into this, and I think you'll enjoy it, honestly. But yeah, so what we find is that basically that whole House of X, I'm trying not to spoil things for people that haven't read it. What? So you want me to talk spoilers, but you've not read it? You've not read any of it? All right, here's what I'll say. I don't think there's anything that I can spoil to the point where it won't be fun to read because there are so many layers. And if anybody knows anything about Jonathan Hickman, which I didn't know anything about Jonathan Hickman before this, but Jonathan Hickman, like, he writes books for smart people. And I don't mean that as an insult to people who don't like his books. I mean that to say that his books have so many layers. Like, Jonathan Hickman is like legit smarter than like all of us. And he writes like it. Like that's how it comes off. So Jonathan Hickman writes books with, little tidbits and things that you go back and you read it 3 or 4 times and you get something different out of it each time. That's what I'll say. So, get House of X and Powers of 10. If you haven't read that, read that. But yeah, so House of X Powers of 10, where we find, in addition to the fact that the mutants can resurrect, we find that all of these different organizations, like some members of S.H.I.E.L.D., some members of S.W.O.R.D., some members of Hammer, have all kind of reformed this big conglomerate called Orchis. And Orchis is trying to ensure the survival of humankind. And of course, what we know through evolution is that eventually mutants are going to wipe out the humans, or they're going to live longer than the humans, right? So basically, this organization has been like trying to figure out how to prevent human extinction by extincting the mutants first. I'll say it like that. So they build sentinels and all these other things, and they all the way far out in the future, they find ways to eradicate mutants. And so in House of X, the whole goal has been, how do we stop that from happening? How do we stop this organization from bringing this system online that's going to wipe out all of mutant kind? And basically, that's where House of X and Powers of 10 end. But like I said, we find out the big reveal at the end of House of X and Powers of 10 is that the mutants can resurrect. It's something that I didn't know going into it, and something no one knew, and it really is a game changer. So fast forward to all these issues from now. We've been at like 2 years of mutant storylines, right? And what we find out at the beginning of Inferno, and I'm not going to spoil anything else, what we find out at the beginning of Inferno is that the mutants have tried unsuccessfully at least 15 times to infiltrate the Orchis base and stop whatever they got going on. They've been unsuccessful every time. And Orchis is now kind of clued in because the outside world, yeah, they tried to stop Orchis 13 times. They've been unsuccessful. The outside world doesn't know that the mutants can resurrect. And we also get a reveal in here that Professor X and Magneto have basically just kind of been ignoring Moira since House of X and Powers of 10, and since like the dawn of Krakoa. And we find out that Moira's not really cool with how she's been treated. And I'll leave it at that. There are other plot points that we get resolution to in this first issue that I did not expect to get in this first issue. And I'll leave that there because I really don't want to spoil it. But with the way issue 1 ended, I'm like, yo. Like, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I thought X-Men was going to be when House of X finished. And I'm kind of sad that we didn't get this all along. Like, I feel cheated that we didn't get stuff like this all along. But also, I'm kind of annoyed that when this finishes 3 issues from now, it's all going to be done. Because I'm like, I could have got this like for the last 2 years and I'd have been a happy camper. I would have been such a happy camper. Shannon says, Hickman Avengers any good? I've heard great things about it. I haven't read it. They're going to be releasing an omnibus or reprinting volumes 1 and 2 of Hickman's Avengers run, which is the full run. But it goes, apparently it's Hickman Fantastic Four, like Sugarman says. Hickman Fantastic Four, then Hickman Avengers, and then you read Secret Wars by Hickman. And it's all one big story. I'm sure you could take or leave the Avengers and or the Fantastic Four, but it's more rewarding if you read it all. Yeah, Inferno is only 4 issues, and they're coming out monthly. Inferno number 2 doesn't come out until October 27th, I believe. So it's gonna be a slow book. When I tell you, this was a page turner. Like, man, I loved everything about this book. Like, let me just giving you close-ups of some of these panels. This artwork is by Valerio Schiti. She did artwork on one of the other X-Men books in this era, but I didn't read it, so I don't know which one it was. I forgot. I said she, but it could be a he too. I don't know. Bruh, the horticulture is back. I forgot about that. The horticulture pops up in this issue. Like there's so many plot lines and like open plot threads that were revisited in just this one issue. I'm like, yo, this is what I've been waiting for since like issue 1 of X-Men. So yeah. Did you guys read Inferno? What did you think about it? Because for me, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, I love this issue. Look at that artwork, man. That is awesome. Star Wars fans breaking his collecting rules. He's not gonna wait until it's not gonna wait till it's collected. Yeah, it's very engaging artwork. I like it. Let's see. If you don't have a strong brain, Hickman books will hurt you. Yes. I feel like Hickman makes books or writes books like the way Christopher Nolan makes movies. Whereas like if you're not paying attention to every little detail, you're gonna miss something. And then when it ends, you're gonna feel like you missed something anyway. Like Phil says, yeah, I read it and it was so epic. Yeah. This issue, this saved like the whole X-Men line for me. Like, I hate that I had to read all those other books that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but I don't mind it because it ended with this. Because like I said, there are little threads all up and through this book, or all up and through the series that kind of get called back or recalled in this book. So even if you were reading all the Hickman books and you didn't quite enjoy them as much, there's still something for you in here. Wasn't going to get more than a few comics this month, and I've been buying stuff every day. Every day? Every day, dude? Not every day. But yeah, I'm down to meet at Ultimate Comics Rally tomorrow. Like I said, I should be there around 5:30. I'll be the dude with the afro and the black mask. Let's see. I saw a comment that said Hickman's books are read like a scholar or drunk at 3 a.m. with whiskey. Let's see. Inferno's only payoff you'll get from Hickman. They removed him out this book. That's what makes me mad about this. Because I feel like this was going to happen and maybe set up something else, or maybe this would have happened all throughout the story. But because of whatever editorial interference there was, Inferno just ends up being a standalone event. But I mean, this was a 50-page book. Was it 50? Yeah. Yeah, this is a 50-page book. So I think there's something in it for you. I mean, that's 200 pages. That's a bunch. Melanated Dweeb just got in the comments about a week ago. Can't miss me. I'm 6'6". That's what's up. So, Sugar Man, he said it was part 1 of a 3-part plan he had, but then he also said they kind of like abandoned the whole 3-act saga really early on. So, I don't know. I don't know if we're like in stage 1 or this was like 1.5. Like, where are we really? Let's see. I agree with BJ, but some of those X-Men books are really good. BJ, read Hellions. Let me know what you think. It's basically X-Men Suicide Squad craziness. I really liked the Hellions issues that I read that were a part of Ten of Swords. So I did like those. Pan Dawson, what's up, dude? What is up? Pan Dawson was just a great name. What's good? What's good? We're just talking about Inferno. I'm trying not to spoil the issue while telling everyone that they should read it immediately. That's what's going on. That's what I'm doing right now. Yes. Melanated Dweeb, welcome to the hobby. Listen, I walked into Ultimate Comics Raleigh 2 years ago in May, and I've been walking in there every week since. So good luck sticking to your budget. But yeah, Dan, Casey, and Trevor are the greatest. Tell them I sent you, and they'll automatically love you. I know you're a busy guy. Next time I'm in Raleigh, we got to meet up. I'd like to get the NC group together one day. I'm down. I'm down. I got to get vaccinated, but I'm down. I'm down. I want to add some big things I'm planning for next year, and some big things I'm planning for this year that I can't announce yet. They're still in the works. I don't like announcing things until they're done, but this is going to it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun quarter. The last 3 months of this year are going to be great. Let's see. Sugarman says, so much for not going an hour and a half. Yeah, you guys are right. I honestly got to put a hard stop on this because I got to check on my fam. I got to make sure everybody's good. Let's see. Haha, it's hard to do a spoiler for your review and get people to read it, but because you say it's good, I'm legit. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't been reading any of this Hickman X-Men era, I would say maybe some of it's important. Like read House of X and Powers of 10. If you didn't read that already, I'm assuming you did. But yeah, read that. I don't think the Hellfire Gala is super important to this so far. Maybe it ends up being, because I mean this is only issue 1. Read maybe X-Men number 20, X-Men number 3, and I think that's about all you need for this issue. I think that's legit all you need to get into Inferno. The rest of it definitely does seem like filler. It really does. So yeah. No, I don't. No, I don't what? I do gotta run though. I do gotta run. So this has been fun. We do this every week. We don't have to feel like, it's gonna end and then it's all hope is lost. I do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time until 8:30 at the latest. And it's always fun. Thank you guys for joining me on the Hangout. And hope you enjoy Inferno. Hope you've been enjoying all this stuff. All of it. Hope you enjoyed all the books you bought this week. I can't wait to pick mine up tomorrow. And of course, I'll have reviews coming for you this time next week. So I'll see you on another episode of the Hangout very soon. Until then, hope you saw something you liked in this video. And if not, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.